Welcome to this explainer. Today we're stepping away from the noise of the everyday to look at something profoundly intimate yet entirely universal. We're exploring the silent performance, the cultural masks of the hidden self. As we go through this, I want you to adopt a slightly different kind of focus today, a measured, quiet intensity. We're going to explore the architecture of emotional concealment, looking at exactly how different cultures process the deeply human experience of pretending to be okay when we're just not. Let's dive in.
Consider this powerful thought. Every culture teaches people how to speak, but cultures also teach people how to hide. Just let that juxtaposition sit with you for a moment. We spend years learning vocabulary, grammar, and syntax to communicate our thoughts, right? Yet simultaneously, we're silently instructed in the art of the unspoken. We are taught the rules of emotional restraint, the strict boundaries of vulnerability, and the intricate ways to conceal our true inner landscape. This explainer is going to decode that hidden language.
Part 1. The Anatomy of Hidden Pain.
There is a sheer, visceral power in the Turkish expression içten ağlamak. Translated literally, it means to have a heart crying blood. It perfectly captures the agonizing reality of enduring deep emotional pain while maintaining an entirely normal, unbroken exterior. You know the feeling? It's like walking down a rainy city street, surrounded by people completely composed on the outside, while a profound suffering is happening just beneath the surface.
The imagery here is purely psychological. The inner self bleeds invisibly. And the cultural tone of this phrase isn't just about feeling sad. It's really about a profound capacity for emotional endurance. It speaks to a societal understanding that a person can carry an immense, invisible burden of unexpressed suffering, day in and day out, without ever letting the world see a single drop of that internal reality.
Let's look at another beautifully haunting linguistic reflection, this time from Lithuania. Šypsotis per skausmą. This translates to smile through pain. It evokes such a specific atmosphere of quiet resilience, profound sadness, and sheer endurance. Think of half-lit faces of someone offering a polite, warm expression to a friend or a stranger, while simultaneously holding back an absolute ocean of grief. It is the literal, physical act of the mouth curving upwards while the eyes remain emotionally distant.
When we contrast the English idiom we all know, putting on a brave face, with the Lithuanian šypsotis per skausmą, subtle differences emerge. In English, the emphasis is heavily placed on dignity, survival, and emotional restraint. A brave face implies a battle, shielding your weakness from the public eye to maintain order and strength. The Lithuanian concept, however, leans much more deeply into inner realism. It acknowledges the tragedy. It's less about looking brave for others and more about the quiet, heartbreaking resilience of maintaining outward calm despite your own suffering.
Part 2. The social mask.
Consider the Turkish concept rol yapmak, literally, to play a role. Now, this isn't about theater in the traditional sense. This is the daily social pressure and adaptation required to pretend emotionally just to fit into the world. It's the realization that from the exact moment we leave our empty apartments and step into the public eye, we are stepping onto a stage, wearing invisible theater masks. We adopt the appropriate tone, the expected reactions, carefully curating our identity to survive the complex social dynamics of our daily lives.
The Lithuanian perspective on this performance offers a slightly darker, more critical lens with the word veidmainystė. This translates roughly to hypocrisy or double-faced behavior. What's crucial to understand here is the intense psychological weight of this act. It highlights the social distrust that breeds when we know everyone is acting differently from their true beliefs. It asks us to consider the heavy toll of walking around as a false identity, constantly managing the gap between who we are and who we pretend to be for the sake of social harmony.
So this crucial point is beautifully captured by the classic English idiom, behind closed doors. This phrase masterfully encapsulates the absolute duality of our lives. It acknowledges that there is a strict, undeniable divide between our public performance and our secret truths. The public self is composed, functioning, acceptable. But behind closed doors, that's where the armor comes off. It's the safe harbor where the true emotional reality, whether that's exhaustion, grief, or just unfiltered honesty, is finally allowed to exist, totally away from the gaze of others.
Synthesizing these concepts reveals the universal architectural design of our identities. We have rol yapmak, the public act, the role we play to adapt and function. And we have behind closed doors, the private truth, the sanctuary of self-protection.
These aren't just quirks of language, you know? They are the fundamental mechanisms we use to build a barrier between our fragile inner worlds and the demanding, often unforgiving outer world.
Part 3. The Fall of the Mask.
Consider the English metaphor, a wolf in sheep's clothing. This demonstrates how masks can abruptly pivot. We've talked about masks as mechanisms of survival and dignity, but here, the mask becomes a tool of active deception. It's the ultimate subversion of trust, hiding genuinely dangerous intentions behind a facade of complete innocence. It reminds us that while we all wear masks to protect ourselves, we are rightfully terrified of the masks others wear to manipulate or harm us.
And that leads to the dramatic Turkish phrase, maskesini düşürmek, which literally means to make someone's mask fall. This captures an incredibly precise cinematic moment. It is the exact second of exposure, almost playing out in slow motion. That moment of disillusionment when the fog clears, the shadows retreat, and a person's true personality or hidden intentions are finally undeniably revealed. It's a violent unmasking of truth that permanently alters how we see someone.
Part 4. Psychology of Concealment.
When we view these cultures side by side, we see how three distinct histories have uniquely evolved to manage the exact same human vulnerabilities. You have the Turkish focus on the deep endurance of hidden suffering, you have the English emphasis on controlled social presentation and maintaining dignity, and you have the Lithuanian perspective of quiet concealment and stark inner realism. Different words, different cultural histories, but fundamentally they are all intricate systems designed to handle the unbearable weight of being human in front of other humans.
Which brings us to a fundamental question. Why do humans hide emotional pain? I want you to really think about this for a second. We are social creatures who desperately need connection, yet our absolute first instinct when we are bleeding on the inside is to hide it. Why is our default setting so often silent concealment rather than reaching out? Just let the weight of that inquiry linger in the air for a moment.
Building on that, why do cultures admire emotional control? Across the globe, society implicitly rewards those who can successfully disguise their struggles behind a facade of strength. We praise people for holding it together. We applaud the brave face. But in doing so, we kind of have to ask ourselves, are we actually praising resilience, or are we just praising their ability to not make the rest of us uncomfortable with their pain?
Ultimately, it all comes down to this core inquiry. Why do people fear showing vulnerability? Well, it is the profound fear of being truly seen. If the mask falls, if the true self is exposed in the harsh light of day, the fear is that we'll be rejected, misunderstood, or preyed upon. Vulnerability is a huge risk, and our psychological masking is the ultimate insurance policy.
Part 5. Loudest unseen emotions. This haunting Lithuanian phrase, Slepti tikrąjį, literally translates to hide the true face. It perfectly illustrates the tragic irony of our condition. We begin concealing our identity and our emotions to protect ourselves from the world. But over time, that emotional distance solidifies into a profound inner secrecy. We hide the true face so well and for so long that sometimes we risk forgetting what it actually looks like when we finally look in mirrors or catch our reflections in windows, wondering who is staring back.
So we must consider a final question. At what point does protection become emotional isolation? We build these incredible psychological structures. We learn to smile through pain, to put on a brave face, to play our roles flawlessly. But we have to ask ourselves if the very masks we build to survive the world are the exact same walls that end up trapping us in the dark.
We're going to end our explainer today on this really evocative thought. Sometimes the loudest emotions are the ones nobody sees. As you go about your week, walking past strangers on rainy city nights, or sitting across from friends in dim, warm lighting, remember the silent performances happening all around you and within you. Thank you for joining me for this quiet dive into the hidden self. I hope this leaves you with a new lens through which to view the incredible, invisible weight we all carry.